Hey everybody, today we are working on a Windows backup agent of OpenText Server Backup, formerly Carbonite Server Backup or EVault, and we have a warning in our backup log here saying hard links related to a file not selected and have not been backed up. And this actually relates to multiple in this backup log. I just have one here as an example. So the question is, what is a hard link? Well, it's a file system representation basically pointing to one spot on a hard drive for multiple files. That way the operating system can make multiple logical pointers and not have to have multiple copies physically on that drive. Now, when the backup runs, it needs to scan each of these files to find out if this file is just that one link or if it's got multiple that it needs to go get. Because during a restore, if it doesn't restore the information properly, we'll lose the information about the other file's pointer and this pointer. To make sure we're on the same page for what we are looking at, to make sure that your warning in your backup matches to what I've got, let's take a look at how I've got mine set up. I'm in the portal interface here, selected the computers tab, and under the MS SQL Server in my particular case, I can edit the job by clicking directly on the name of the job, or under the Select Action dropdown, go to Edit Job. From here, I've got the Users folder included for this backup, and this doesn't apply exclusively to just the Users folder. There are other locations in the operating system file structure that this could apply to also. As far as the impact of what we're going to fix here, I can find out all of the impacted files by clicking on the Completed with Warnings, which will show me the log dialog box, or under the Select Action dropdown on the right side, the History Logs link. From here, I've got my backups in the calendar, I've got the date selected, and then I click directly on the name of the latest backup. And sometimes this can get a little tricky to read inside of this window, so I'm actually going to click this little icon that we have to download the entire log file. I've adjusted the log file here to make it a little bit easier to see on screen, but we can see within this directory here, we've got a lot of the files in the WinX group folders, Internet Explorer, and Start menu items. So the resolution is to find out where each one of these are linking to. But there's a slightly easier solution if we've got a common folder where a lot of these are stored at. So the first thing that we need to do though is grab one of these and find out where it's trying to link to. And I'm just going to use this as an example because I can see the entire thing on the screen. Easy to copy and paste this one. Now I've jumped over to the server that is having the backup completed on it, and we're going to use the command fsutil hardlink list, and then I'm going to put in a double quote, and then I paste in the full path, including the file name from that log file, and then I put in a ending double quote, and I'll hit enter. Here we can see the two spots on the operating system where these link to the disk. The second one here is the path that we have included, that users folder, and the first one is the other location. Now your options here are to go through one by one, find this path in your backup inclusion set, and add it to be backed up. But what we're going to do is we're going to grab another file from this log, and we'll just take this one down here. And there we can see we have a very similar path. It links in the Windows WinSXS path directory here. The quick fix for this is that for these links here, we would actually just include this folder path here into our backup inclusion. That way we're making sure to cover each of these links, and this GUID could be unique and stay stable, but there's also a high chance that it might change over time, and so we don't have to come back in and modify that at a later point. And that's going to cover everything that's in these. But we also have a little bit more in this backup that we need to review. So let's take a look at the Start menu programs. We'll check the accessibility and system tools. And there we have it. Both of those are also in this folder set here. One thing that we do have with this particular OSK link here is it does have a different GUID at the end for those versus what we were looking at previously. But they share a common parent folder here under the WinS folder. So at this point, I'm going to jump back to my portal, and I need to make a modification to my job by either clicking on Users or the Select Action dropdown and clicking Edit Job. And that common path that we found for them was under the C drive, Windows, and then we have that WinS folder. So put a check mark in that one, hit the include button, and of course, review any requirements for your particular server, whether this should be included, whether there's any specific exclusions from within a particular folder. And I'm not saying that this Win folder is going to be the root of the problem every time. It could be a link to some other location, and that is why you need to review these on a one-on-one basis, or like we saw where it looks to be grouped to a main parent folder. So to verify this, we'll save the job, and then I'm going to run it under the select action dropdown here, run job. And there we have it. A backup is now completed. So we'll close this and refresh the window. You can click on computers or refresh the entire browser. And so now I'll expand out the server, and on the job here, we have the green check mark for completed okay, and everything's looking all right. Now, I do want to point out that you could have a cascading hard link issue where folder A hard links to something in folder B, and then you include everything in folder B. Well, a different file in folder B then needs something in folder C, so on and so forth. So you have to be either kind of granular or very picky with your inclusion and exclusion. It all depends on what you need to do for your backup job. Sometimes it's easier to just say, I'm going to back up the entire server. That said, take a look at your backup requirements for making sure that your backup works okay. If you have any questions about this process, go ahead and comment down below, and we'll catch you in another video. See ya.